wouldn't crossband repeat in a handheld heat up quite a bit and draw the battery to? Yes. If you're using the battery eliminator with an 878 and you're thinking, oh, I'll just put it on turbo. Nope. Battery eliminator on turbo, it actually will power the radio off.
Safety feature.
Because it cannot sustain it. Even though it's a 12-volt source going into the radio, it's stepped down to the, 8.2 volts for a fully charged battery?
8.25, yes.
Okay. I remember some of the stuff you taught me still. The TNC would be great because I actually got 2 tickets today in tech support that were asking, can I hook the programming cable up to my 878 and grab the APRS data to the computer like a TNC? And the answer on that would be no at this point.
Yeah.
Now, WindLink, you can use WindLink with the 878. Greg isn't here right now, but he actually has a video on his YouTube channel of setting up WindLink on the 878 and the 578.
Well, he covered that as a guest on the show.
Yes, he did.
A month ago.
Anytone is not going to support D-Star or Fusion because those are proprietary technologies and the licensing, whereas DMR is more open sourced. Another point is that Dave brought up is DigiRig works great with the 878 and the 578. That's actually what I've used when I worked with the WindLink, trying to get it set up. Do I have experience with WindLink? Not to the extent that Greg or Larry or probably half a dozen people in the BC Plus audience have. One thing I would like to see is if we can use the 168 with the DigiRig, because the cable should be the same and it should be the same interface theoretically, because it's using the K1 style connector on the radio on the 878 and the programming cable is just for
programming and charge. I think it would work. I think I may have to put that
investigate that further.
Put that theory to test.
Yes. So back to the topic. We've covered the 878 being used for ARES, CERT, regular ham radio use, commercial use like fire and EMS. 578. Applications for that.
I've got 3 of them. One on the bench, one in my truck, and one in my Go box. And inside my Go box, I also have a G90. I've got to deploy it one time this year. I do have Crossband repeat set up. Works wonderfully. We used it on just a small family gathering. Worked great. Everybody was running around with their little micro talks, what we call them, but they're just a no-name little. See, what were they? I think I gave $15 a pair for them. Little programmable UHF radios, and we had it on low power, and it worked great. Everybody could talk to everybody. The grandkids were happy. The parents were happy. Give them a radio. Well, guys, it worked great. And I don't have anything down to say about it. I've got mine, all 3 of mine, paired with the BTO1. That gives me to where I can run it in the truck and not have to have it in the console of my F-150. Go to change a channel, open up the console, do my changes, and close it and go on. At least with the BTO1, I got it securely mounted behind the back seat. I can remotely control it from the front. Love it, love it, love it. Plus, it gives me a solid 50 watts out for when I really need that power to reach into the systems. Then being able to flip it down on low and work some DMR from the hotspot there in the truck.
Yeah, and that is one of the things that we will talk about here in a little bit is the plug-and-play packages, the applications for those, whether it's the 878 or the 578 or the 168 plug-and-play package. And, which one is probably the best one for you getting started if you're tuning in on YouTube and you don't have a DMR radio yet, or you're just getting in the DMR. The plug and play package and, what it is, what it covers, and what it is not. So the one thing with the 578 that I would say I've seen go back and forth, kind of like a ping pong ball or a tennis ball across the court, has to be commercial use and ham radio use. The 578 can be a workhorse in commercial use. Perfect application, Part 90, you've got radios, you are set up in shipping and receiving at a warehouse. You've got your commercial frequencies, you've got your antennas, your mag mount antenna stuck on top of the little shack they built you in the middle of the warehouse because they didn't want you to get run over by a forklift, so they surround it by the big yellow poles to keep you safe while you're doing the shipping and receiving orders. And, having that 50 watts to be able to reach anybody in the warehouse or even outside of the warehouse on VHF or UHF with what your commercial license covers, it's great for that. The one thing that I would say it is not great for, well, actually, yeah, if you're in a warehouse that has those industrial fans and you don't have it secured to the power supply with one of the mounting kits, it does make a great paperweight to hold down the papers next to the power supply. If you're in Oklahoma and one of those winds comes whipping across the plains there and all the doors are open because it's hotter than Hades in the warehouse, set it on some of the papers that you're trying to keep track of too. That works too. The 578 though, I've had people that, they've got two different sides of the building, and one side is on the VHF side of the license, the other side is on the UHF side of the license, and they use the crossband repeat feature. And that's a really good application for the crossband repeat feature, is when you have two different licenses for commercial use and you want to have two different sides of, your business that have their own frequencies and can talk to each other, but when they need to communicate, there's one frequency each side can go to and talk back and forth. That's a great use for crossband repeat.